Is this a movie scene? A Ghost Rider trailer? In the video, a car is completely engulfed in flames, speeding down an embankment before plunging into a river. Even after hitting the water, the fire doesn't stop. One viewer commented, "If it's still burning after hitting the water, it must be an electric vehicle." An electric car caught fire on its own. A forklift operator tried to throw the burning car into the river but missed, and the car ended up on the greenery by the riverbank. Viewers pointed out that the fire only got worse after that. Whoa, what's going on here? Oh my god, run, run, run. It's a new energy vehicle, an electric car, oh no. This was a BYD transport truck. Every new car on it was destroyed in the fire. Fires have been linked to BYD electric cars during transportation, charging, driving, and even collisions. It's no surprise people are saying BYD cars are on fire in China. On May 17th, something dramatic happened on a highway in Hubei. A truck carrying new energy vehicles caught fire. The vehicles on board were all Huawei AITO Wenjie M9 and M5 models. The video shows the fire starting at the back of the truck and quickly getting out of control. In the end, all the electric cars burned down to their skeletons. One blogger sarcastically remarked, "There's a certain national pride electric car brand. If their own cars catch fire, they'll blame Tesla. If their own SUVs catch fire, they'll say it's the Great Wall's fault. When the airbags don't deploy after a collision and the driver is seriously injured, they'll claim Toyota also cuts corners. Do you know which brand this is?" Another blogger jokes, "When it comes to China's new energy cars, one fire can burn a whole fleet. Some burn while parked, some burn while charging, while driving, some burn on trucks, at dealerships, and some even burn at the factory. They're leading the world in every possible fire scenario." On September 3rd, a user shared a video of a trailer full of electric cars catching fire on a highway. The entire trailer was engulfed in flames, with thick black smoke rising and explosions happening one after another. On September 8th, a user from Chengdu, Sichuan, shared footage of their electric car catching fire at an intersection. Firefighters were already on the scene, but instead of putting out the flames, they just told people to keep their distance. They didn't seem to be in a hurry to extinguish it, likely knowing that once an electric car catches fire, it's impossible to save. They figured it was better to let it burn than waste water. The owner said, "I had just stepped out when it caught fire. Let's see if you still want to buy electric cars. These things are too dangerous." On August 31st, a user from Tianjin recorded a fire involving an electric car parked outside their building. Firefighters were spraying water on the battery, which had already fallen out and no longer had visible flames. Around the scene were several dry powder fire extinguishers, and the ground was covered in white foam. This blogger had been gathering recent cases of electric car fires, urging people to think twice before buying one. Despite these incidents happening daily, the Chinese government is still speeding up its push for these new energy vehicles. China's official data shows that by the end of June, there were 345 million cars in China, with 24.7 million being new energy vehicles, making up 7.2% of the total. Pure electric cars made up about 18 million, which is 73.4% of the new energy vehicle total. On August 11th, China introduced new guidelines aimed at speeding up the country's green transformation. It proposed promoting low-carbon transportation, pushing for new energy vehicles, and speeding up the transition to electric public service vehicles. The plan also called for retiring old transport equipment and advancing zero-emission freight. The government aims to have new energy vehicles fully replace traditional fuel cars and become the dominant choice for new sales by 2035. As more electric vehicles hit the road, the number of fires has also been rising. Many Chinese media outlets reported that, according to emergency management statistics, the number of new energy vehicle fires increased by 32% in the first quarter of 2023. On average, there are 8 fires a day involving these vehicles, including spontaneous combustion. Just imagine what will happen when there are 300 million electric cars on China's roads. Every day there are 8 electric cars burning. People might think that 9.6 million square kilometers is huge. But imagine if there were 42,900 electric car fires a day. What would that look like? This isn't made up, because Professor Mingao Ouyang from Tsinghua University said China's 300 million cars will all become electric. If 8 cars burned every day, based on the Ministry of Public Security's calculations for electric vehicle ownership, that's a spontaneous combustion rate of 1.43 per 10,000. Now, if you scale that up to 300 million cars, that's 42,900 fires a day. I don't know what China will look like when that happens. Will society still be happy? How many people will die from the toxic fumes? How many will lose their homes? Standard quality checks for regular parts use a parts per million measure. If the spontaneous combustion rate for batteries is 1.43 per 10,000, that's 100 times worse than the regular auto parts. Cars are meant to carry lives, so safety should always be the top priority. Safety is the bottom line. Are we really allowing such poorly made products to hit the market? Are we still going to use national funds to push them? How many families will lose everything in a fire, or even their lives? This blogger likely didn't expect the CCP to ever show much concern for the safety of ordinary citizens. So who is Mingao Ouyang, the person this blogger mentioned? He's an academician with the Chinese Academy of Sciences and a professor at Tsinghua University's School of Vehicle and Mobility. He's also a major figure in promoting new energy vehicles in China. In March, Ouyang sparked controversy at the China Electric Vehicle 100 People's Conference, when he claimed electric vehicles had a much lower rate of spontaneous combustion than fuel cars. Data from the National Fire and Rescue Department shows that in the first quarter of 2023, 18,360 fuel cars caught fire, compared to 640 new energy vehicles. But people don't focus on the 18,000 fuel car fires. They only care about the 640 electric car fires. Why do some say 8 electric cars catch fire every day? Because that number seems large, and it is significant. Right now, there are just over 10 million electric vehicles. But if that number reaches 100 million and the fires increase tenfold, the result will be shocking. That's why so many people are talking about this issue. But if we look at fire rates, the rate for fuel cars is 0.58 per 10,000, while it's 0.44 per 10,000 for new energy vehicles, which is actually lower. Yet, when an electric car catches fire, it becomes news, even if it's just one. On the other hand, fuel car fires don't make the news because people aren't interested in hearing about them. Ouyang's statement was widely covered by many media outlets, with the goal of justifying the high spontaneous combustion rate of Chinese new energy vehicles. However, many viewers criticized him, accusing him of misleading people. They pointed out 3 major problems with Ouyang's claim. First, he falsely cited the National Fire and Rescue Department. Second, the data he used was from 2022, not from the first quarter of 2023. Third, he deliberately confused concepts to justify his argument.
An expert says fuel cars catch fire more often than electric cars, but that's a deliberate lie. Not only do electric cars catch fire more often, but they are also more dangerous. According to the Fire Rescue Bureau, in the first quarter of 2022, there were 19,000 vehicle fires, up 8.8% compared to last year. Of those, 640 involved new energy vehicles, up 32%, and 3,777 involved electric bikes, up 36%. Both increases were higher than the overall rise in vehicle fires. What Mingao Ouyang did was take those 640 electric vehicle fires out of the 19,000 in total and blame the rest on fuel cars. He completely ignored the fact that at least 3,777 of those fires were from electric bikes. In fact, in the first quarter of 2022, new energy vehicle fires grew at a rate 3.6 times higher than all other vehicle fires. But Ouyang twisted the facts to say fuel cars catch fire more than electric cars, so electric cars are safer. This false conclusion was widely reported by the media, misleading consumers. People fear electric car fires not just because of the flames, but because they spread fast, give little time to escape, and can even cause explosions, leaving no chance for survival.
One viewer commented, "I just saw 2 more cars spontaneously combust on the highway today. Car accidents don't happen this often." I just want to ask those who say spontaneous combustion is rare. What do you mean? Who would buy a car and gamble with that risk? Once you hit that rare chance, your car and your life are both gone. Why are electric cars being sold and promoted in such large numbers when this issue hasn't been fully solved?
Seriously, don't buy an electric car. If you don't believe it, just look around. 9 out of 10 spontaneous fires involved electric cars. Last month in Changsha, a fire broke out on the Wanjiali overpass, starting with an electric car. Then in Yuelu district's Rongsheng Huayu New Estate, another electric car caught fire, spreading to over 40 vehicles, most of which were fuel cars. At the time, I had just posted a video warning people not to buy electric cars. 2 days later, there was news of a Mercedes E300 catching fire on the Wanjiali overpass. Now, some expert is trying to convince us by saying that in 2022, 640 electric cars caught fire, along with 3,700 electric bikes and 18,000 fuel cars. Do you believe that? I just want to ask, are more fires happening around electric cars or fuel cars? The statistics are totally unreliable. First of all, fuel cars outnumber electric cars by tens of millions. Plus, the number of fuel car fires is based on fire alarm reports, minus electric car fires, and minus electric bike fires. So the numbers can't be trusted. Keep in mind, one electric car catching fire could cause 10 surrounding fuel cars to catch fire too. Those fuel cars are the real victims. They didn't combust spontaneously. And here's the harsh truth. Even if a fuel car catches fire, there's a chance to save it. But for electric cars, that's not always the case.
Another viewer shared, I've been driving for 20 years and I've never seen a fuel car catch fire. But I've already seen more than 10 electric cars catch fire. Statistics are used to serve political agendas, but whether the data is reliable, we ordinary people can judge for ourselves. One user revealed that this academician holds shares in and serves on the boards of several new energy companies. That's why he's pushing so hard for new energy vehicles. On stage, it's all about morals, but behind the scenes, it's all about profits. Viewers asked, as an expert in the industry, is it really okay for him to mislead people like this? When it comes to which is safer, fuel cars or electric vehicles, some argue that expert opinions are unnecessary. Many residential property managers have already given their answer. Many residential communities are now banning electric cars from parking in their garages because of the risk of fire. In one underground garage in Tai'an, an electric car caught fire and destroyed more than 20 vehicles. Almost every car in the garage was covered in ash. Since the fire happened underground, fire trucks couldn't get in. And because lithium batteries have flammable materials and oxidizers, the fire couldn't be put out. They had to wait for it to burn itself out. Look at this, an electric car got pushed into water and was still on fire. Once an electric car catches fire in a garage, it can spread quickly, and even a 3 million yuan insurance policy wouldn't be enough to cover the damages. That's why many communities are now banning electric cars from their premises. A user shared that a restaurant in Hangzhou, China is refusing to let domestic new energy vehicles park in its underground garage. Some people say this is discrimination, but the user disagrees. They believe it's because people are scared of fires. One asked, what if you park there and burn down the restaurant? The user also pointed out that it's nearly impossible to get compensation from domestic new energy vehicle manufacturers, calling them bullies. This summer, China faced continuous high temperatures, with many areas reaching over 40 degrees Celsius. Electric vehicles, which aren't built to handle extreme heat, caught fire frequently. These fires affected almost every domestic brand, as well as joint ventures like Mercedes-Benz and Volkswagen. Reports have pointed out that the number of new energy vehicle fires in August was even higher than in July. By August 28th, there had been 15 incidents of smoking or fires in new energy vehicles, with 13 of those having specific time and location details. On the evening of August 2nd, a bus in Wuhan, Hubei province, caught fire at a bus stop on Baohua Street. The fire started at the rear of the bus. The driver quickly evacuated all the passengers. In the early hours of August 3rd, an electric car in Dalian, Liaoning province, suddenly caught fire on the road. The fire spread quickly, and within minutes, the car was completely engulfed. On August 6, an electric car caught fire while charging at a station in Wuxi. The owner said the car had been charging for only about 10 minutes when white smoke started coming from the front, scaring him badly. On August 7th, a car caught fire in the Hengsheng Grand Market in Heze, Shandong Province, around 9 a.m., according to a report from Dazhongnet. At around 11:03 a.m. on August 11th, a G3 vehicle caught fire at Pazhou Technology Building in Haizhu District, Guangzhou. On August 12th, a video shared online showed a white electric car catching fire while waiting at a red light on Pinshan Avenue in Shenzhen. Thick smoke and flames could be seen rising, and the sound of sirens and pedestrians rushing to safety was captured in the footage. The fire was intense, making the scene highly dangerous. On August 16th, around 4:25 p.m., an electric car caught fire while charging under an overpass at the Changfeng Street and TU Road intersection in Taiyuan City in Shanxi. Luckily, the driver was nearby. He quickly unplugged the charging cable and called 119. Firefighters arrived and managed to put out the fire. No one was injured. On the same day, an electric bus from BAIC Photon caught fire in Zichang City, Yan'an, Shanxi Province. On August 20th, an electric car exploded while charging at a station in Sanming City in Fujian Province. Thick smoke started rising from a BAIC electric car, and during the cooling process, it suddenly exploded. The explosion blew off the doors and rear trunk. While the cause is still unknown, the car was severely damaged. Fortunately, firefighters and police handled the situation well, and no one was hurt. On August 21st, a Zodi E200 electric vehicle caught fire on the S20 Outer Ring Expressway in Shanghai. Videos circulating online show another electric car fire in Shenzhen on August 21st. The video captured loud explosions, with thick smoke and flames rising high into the air. On August 27th, another BAIC New Energy car caught fire on a street in Changsha. The car was parked by the roadside, completely engulfed in flames, with thick smoke surrounding the scene. Both the engine and passenger compartments were destroyed by the fire. On August 29th, another electric car caught fire while driving in Changsha. It burned down to scrap metal within minutes. What's more alarming is that China is rapidly promoting electric vehicles, but the necessary safety facilities for charging haven't kept up.
Let me ask you a question. What's scarier, a fire starting on the 18th floor or the first floor? Charging an electric scooter in the hallway isn't allowed, and even bringing the battery upstairs to charge it is banned. But here's what's happening now. People are charging them in plastic containers instead of metal ones. The clasps are breaking, the wires are overheating, and this is happening throughout the neighborhood. If two-wheeled vehicles aren't safe, do you really think four-wheeled ones are any better?
It's not just domestic electric vehicles catching fire in China. Some joint venture brands are also facing the same issue. Mercedes-Benz, for example, has had several spontaneous combustion incidents this summer. Some users have even nicknamed it the green-plated knockoff car. On September 3rd, several users reported that a Mercedes New Energy vehicle caught fire outside a 4S dealership in Haining, Jiaxing, Zhejiang Province. Some users found out that the battery in the Mercedes EQB might be a ternary lithium battery made by China's Farasys technology. But what really put Mercedes in the spotlight was a fire in early August in a South Korean underground garage. This fire cost Mercedes 4.5 billion Korean won in compensation. It started with a battery produced by China's Farasys technology. On August 1st, a Mercedes EQ1350 caught fire in a parking lot in Incheon, South Korea. The flames quickly spread to nearby cars. Since the parking lot was crowded, the fire was hard to control. Over 200 firefighters and 80 fire trucks were called in, and it took 8 hours to put out the fire. Later investigations revealed that 40 cars were destroyed, more than 100 others were damaged, and 22 residents were hospitalized for smoke inhalation. Over 500 households lost water and electricity. The investigation found that the car had been parked for 3 days without charging or being turned on. It hadn't been hit by another vehicle either. The fire started in the battery. At first, Mercedes refused to disclose the battery supplier, citing competitive concerns. They said, "We don't reveal our auto parts suppliers as a matter of principle." However, on August 13th, Mercedes-Benz Korea gave in to the pressure and disclosed on its website that the battery was supplied by China's Ferrosis technology. The battery in the Mercedes EQE also comes from Ferrosis Technology, a Chinese company. After this information came out, South Korean consumers were outraged that Mercedes was using a lesser-known Chinese battery manufacturer. One user commented, "Who would have thought that the century-old reputation of Mercedes-Benz would be ruined by a Chinese battery?" This incident caused prices in South Korea's used car market to drop significantly and negatively affected the entire electric vehicle industry. Consumers are now more afraid of electric cars, and manufacturers and dealers are starting to avoid them. The fact that Chinese-made batteries have safety issues is now widely accepted. Even brands that once claimed zero spontaneous combustion have been proven wrong. Foreign electric vehicles using Chinese batteries are also facing the same problems. With overproduction in China's market, many Chinese battery companies, including Ferrosis, are trying to expand overseas. But the Mercedes fire incident may make it much harder for these Chinese companies to break into foreign markets.